I've been playing Wuthering Waves for 2 months, and what did I get? Is it worth it to play Wuthering Waves? In this video, I will tell you my impressions and what I feel when I'm playing Wuthering Waves. At first, I start Wuthering Waves without any motivation. My only motivation was just playing new games for my live streams. I just had a few expectations because there was talk in the media about Wuthering Waves. And that is, the combat is good and the story is just so-so. But I managed not to get that expectation since I was not playing Wuthering Waves yet. In general, my impression is great. If I can give a point, it's 9 out of 10. But of course, there's a critic of it. Why did I give that? Alright, let me explain. The first highlight is the combat. I love combat, but of course it doesn't mean I'm a pro or good at it. Until now, I'm still exploring Wuthering Waves and it's really interesting. Kuro Games has a good reputation for combat systems, and in Wuthering Waves, they did well. As a new player, of course it's overwhelming to understand the combat because there's a lot. Like parry, dodge, forte skill, and throw skill, eco skill, conservator, resonance skill, and liberation, and okay, I think that's all. I don't know, maybe. But it's not just that. Every character has their own characteristic to play. For example, if you want to use a forte skill, each character has a different way to do that. Maybe I can say every character has different combat and can be played with different combos. So when we put them on the team, maybe it will be countless combos we can get? I think yes. I don't know for now, that's my opinion. And that's just a crazy good thing. I mean, if you want to explore combat, you can really do that. Alright, I want to go to another sections, and in my opinion, this is another thing that makes this game alive. And that is the story. Okay, in summary, we are a rover who comes to this world called SUBSRCIBE, like a planet, but we lost our memories. So we will trace back our memory here. In SUBSRCIBE, there's a catastrophe called the Lament. We came to SUBSRCIBE after that. So it's a post-apocalyptic story. In here, the combat, story, nuance, worldbuilding, etc. are built based on that. What I feel is that it's not just only post-apocalyptic, but it feels like sci-fi plus an old nuance, like a modern medieval, I think. That's why here we are still using sword, but at the same time, there's a lot of high technology. In my opinion, the story is good, and what's even better is the storytelling. I don't know if it's because this is my genre or my taste or not, but yeah, I like when they merge modern and medieval with sci-fi things. Okay, after this, I will not go too deep into the story, just talk about general things, since it might spoil you. The thing I really like is that the combat and all in this world are still related to the story. For example, when you see the world boss, you know why they are there, because it's explained in the story. And another example is when a character has an ability, it's explained. Or at worst, it's still related and at least we can still make a reason how that ability comes. And for me, that's really good. So it just feels like everything makes sense even if it's just a fiction. Oh, and did you remember when I said it feels like a science fiction? It's because Wuthering Waves is kinda related to that. In here, all based on the frequencies. Okay, before I continue, I want to apologize because I will talk about the story or lore that a bit heavy. Because the easy thing is if you subscribe me. Alright, so here after the Lament came, the apocalypse turned all things into frequencies. And from the frequencies, it will be related everything or like one to another. Like if in science, there are atoms that can merge or become another one. Yeah, it feels like that. Ah, don't swallow my words whole, okay? I'm just trying to explain it in easy way. Okay, I will bring you another example, like characters that are playable or characters that have abilities called resonator. And resonator are people who can turn their frequencies into their abilities. They can be like that because they have a tacit mark, a kind of mark that appears because they can control frequencies. And the frequencies have different types. And that turn into ability types, like in the Wuthering Wave there are 6 types. It's Havoc, Spectro, Glacio, Electro, Fusion, and Aero. Okay, I hope your brain is not blown up just by this, right? To make it easy or simple, you can call it element, but it's not. The 6th type is important and you will meet again and again, but how the frequencies turn into the type, yeah, it's not really necessary actually. But I found this is something interesting to me. At least until this time I make this video, what I catch is like the types, for example aero frequencies, is not always make the ability turn into the wind abilities. Instead, the resonator using aero frequencies turn into the something else. Yeah, maybe I will make this section into another video. Just wait for it. Alright, enough for frequencies. I want to talk about the storytelling here. In general, I feel great about it. It feels like we are playing a game, not just reading or listening. And if there's an animated cutscene, Wuthering Waves always give me a wonderful cutscene. It's really great animation for sure.
My blade! Purge all evil!
Now we go to the next section. In this section, I want to talk about everything, beside the combat and story, related to the world and other things. First, I want to talk about quality of life and exploration. I feel doing exploration here is pretty easy. Different regions have different ways to explore. But after Renacida comes out, the chests had the ability that you could track easily. In Huanglong, the first region, you had to track it with a loot mapper. But yep, in Huanglong it's still kinda easy too. But in Renacida it's even easier and doesn't take too much time. And when I record this video, we are on the 2.6 update. There was a huge update here. Now in all regions you can fly, and it makes exploration or doing anything more easier. Well, it's good for new players like me to join Wuthering Waves now, and I feel bad for old players who had tried a bit harder in the early game in Huanglong. Okay, in short, you don't have to think about how you can 100% exploration. In time you will, if you just play the game. Now I think we will go to the main KOL here. It's about Waves Plate, the energy for Gacha game, and I want to talk about Gacha itself. In Wuthering Waves you can get 240 Waves Plate at max. And if full, there's an overflow up to 480. So if your main Wave Plate are full, you don't have to worry. It will count as for 3 days. And what if your overflow is full? You can just convert your overflowing into your main Waves Plate, and the overflow will still recharge. Well, there's a limit, as I know at max it's 2400 Waves Plate that you can hold at once, but I don't know who want to hold that much, or maybe it's me. And now for the gacha things. To be honest, actually I don't feel Wuthering Waves is like a gacha games. It feels more like just an open world game with a good story, but yeah, it's still a gacha game. First, you will gacha for the characters and weapons. Second, for the leveling echoes, like for another equipment for your characters. And the last, gacha for getting echoes itself. Why previously I feel Wuthering Waves is not like a gacha games? I just feel if you are not going to the end game and just enjoying the exploration and story, it's not really necessary to gacha characters. All the things you need are already here, and it's still easy. But if you already joined into the combat things, here's come the time you must gacha another characters and build your characters. Of course, you need characters for doing combat, right?
Oh, this will be fun.
There's a bunch of banner and a resource for new player to get for gacha or pulling things. In summary, new players can always choose their limited character. And even if you already run out of the resource to get us right, yes, you can still get characters or weapons every patch. If you're lucky and pull on the character banner, you can get the limited character. If not, yeah, you still get the characters, but standard one, and that means you lost 50-50. If you just go to the limited weapons banner, yeah, active pulls already guarantee you to get the weapons. Okay, we are now on the last sections. Let's go to the things that I don't like. First, you cannot reach another area if you have not completed the main quest. For certain times and certain things, it's fine, but there's a condition that you must go to another region. A great example is when you get new characters. The material is in another region. You cannot get the material unless you complete the main quest, and it's really disappointing. I mean, for me that's already attached to the story. I don't want to skip the story just for the material. Even if you skip, it still takes your time, and not just for a material. Recent events are held related to the latest story or region. So the asteroid you get is lower than usual if you have not completed the main story. Alright, second thing, it's about the story itself. I don't know how to talk about this actually. It feels good and not at the same time. Oh yeah, and I'm talking about the main story here. There are some acts that are not good. In general, it's still fine. I mean, sometimes a story cannot be hyped in every arc or chapter, right? The good thing is there's no empty page, but at the same time, I think if the story is not really attached to the main story, just separate it into the component story or another story type. So actually in Wuthering Waves, in some arc you will feel like a component story quest. But yeah, from my experience, actually it's still good, and it still has at least a little information that's really related to the main story. And the last thing that I don't like is about I must wait until the next page to know the story. Well, actually that last thing is just my problem and I don't like it. Okay, in summary, I'm very happy to playing Wuthering Waves, and somehow I'm very attached to the story. Maybe because it's my taste. So is Wuthering Waves worth playing? I think it's worth it to try. Maybe in the beginning it feels overwhelmed and the pace is slow. But after you reach chapter 1, arc 4 or maybe 5, it will get faster and better, especially in Arena City. It's really good. And lastly, I just hope Wuthering Waves still maintains how they introduce their characters. Like introducing characters that actually appear in the main story, not characters that just appear out of nowhere. And maintain that characters are still related to the story or lore. Even if it's just turned into the fan service, I hope they will still make a reason for it so it still makes sense for me. Alright, I think that's all for my impression on Wuthering Waves. How about your impression or feeling about Wuthering Waves? Tell me in the comments. I will make another video related to the Wuthering Waves, so don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to know more, you can join my live stream. Like the video if you enjoy it, and yep, I'm Kirumi. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye.